We're only months away from, of course, a municipal election. In case you've fallen asleep wondering when that one's going to happen, it's at the beginning of November. Of course, Valérie Plante will not be running for mayor. Luc Rabouin, though, is going to be representing her party, Projet Montréal, and Soraya Martinez-Ferrada will be representing Ensemble Montréal as their mayoral candidate. But there is now a third party in the race. It is called Futur Montreal or Montreal, granted official party status by Elections Quebec just a few days ago. Joël DeBellefeuille is on the line. He is founder of this new municipal party. You may remember or know him as founder of the Red Coalition. That is a group, of course, and we talked about this before, anti-racism group here in Montreal. So let's get to it and find out more. Joël, welcome back.
Thank you, Aaron. It's a pleasure.
So let me get to, first of all, try to understand, because I know Matthew Kerr, who is your interim leader, was on yesterday with Elias. Are you co-founders, or what's the official titles here? Not that that's important. I'm just curious.
Yeah, exactly. So Matthew and I are co-founders of Futur Montreal, and yes, he's current interim leader.
So you've been around, in various capacities. We've spoken over the years. What made you decide to take the next step now, form this party, and try to unseat the current party, Projet Montréal?
Well, absolutely. So it's been a few months since we've been working on Futur Montreal, Matthew and I. We felt that there was a huge gap. What we're seeing and what we've seen, or people have seen over the last decade or so, is the status quo of, recycled politics. Right now there's the Projet Montréal that's trying to come out with new slogans, but they're repackaging the same message continuously, but with new faces. So we felt that, as Futur Montreal, we want to build something new, something pragmatic, something bold, and that will run the city efficiently. So we put our heads together and came up with Futur Montreal.
So look, I heard part of the interview with Matthew, the idea of bold, as you just said, bold, pragmatic, and I didn't get a lot of, what is bold. I just I heard a lot of what, kind of generally would be, well, we're different, without necessarily explaining what that difference is, or why voters would get excited about this party. So can you help me out, Joel? Put together some of this. What are some of those bold, pragmatic ideas that are part of your platform?
Okay, certainly. Before that, simply spoken there, Aaron, imagine eating grilled cheese and craft dinner for the last decade, right? So simply put, people are clearly going to want change. They're going to want to have a lust or desire for something different than those two food groups, right? So,
Joel, with all due respect, I like grilled cheese.
I do too.
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, and mac and cheese is not so bad. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So no, in all reality, that simply put, that is kind of essentially what we're looking at. So of course, Futur Montreal being the most viable third option for people, we're putting together different policies that actually will grab the attention not only of the current two parties, but for the population as well. We've put out press releases before about an annual borough dividend. So what that is a surplus, of course, if there is any, of the budget of city admin. Well, a percentage of that will go back to all the 19 boroughs, and then of course those borough mayors will get to decide how to give back that surplus to the people that actually need it. And of course, that's the residents of each borough. So that's one of our flagship. Second, there's a huge issue here of social housing and affordable housing in the city. Way to tackle that, we came up with a use it or lose it policy. Simply put, an expropriation law. If you're holding on to property, disheveled property that's been around for years, which is an eyesore, those are spots that can be developed, that can be flipped or turned into affordable housing or social housing for people that are in need. We're in a crisis here, and we're coming out with ideas on how to tackle that. Use it or lose it. You're sitting on it for 2-3 years and nothing's being done about it except paying your taxes. The city's going to give you a one-time chance. They come back to you. If you don't have an answer for the city, well, the borough will start an expropriation process, retain that, put it into the hands of the city, and then build these affordable or social housing that's required for the people.
Look, I've heard the city, I heard Projet address this. I heard Soraya address this as well, this idea of these buildings, that something has to be done. So much as it's important that it's in your platform, it's not as if it's being ignored. I'm sure this will be an issue during the campaign. Every time I bring this up and I ask our listeners, what is it for you? What has to change? You know this as well as anybody else. You've lived here forever. What's your position on bike paths? Because that's something people always weigh in on.
Well, absolutely. And of course, look, we're not against people riding bicycles, but the problem that's happening or has happened is that almost for the last decade, this is what Projet is, to put it bluntly, shoving down the throats of the people in the city. Of course, we had this issue. I was directly involved with St. Monica's issue, what they had over there in Côte-Neige and NDG.
Right.
And that was interfering with people's lives and still to this day interfering with people's lives, blocking funeral processions, weddings. There's not enough consultation, in our opinion, that's being done with the people that it's actually affecting. They're just coming in, swooping and say, look, this was part of our platform from a decade ago, and we'd have to adhere to our platform.
Would you stop?
On it.
Would you stop the expansion? In other words, build more bike lanes? Have we reached the limit as far as your party is concerned?
The limit is there. The orange cones are there. The people of Montreal are tired. They're waiting for something new. They're hungry for something new, and I think. What Projet is currently doing, or initially started out to do, was a great idea. But you give a line or you give an extension doesn't mean for you to run with it. It's used solely for developing within means, and I think we've reached that plateau.
Joel, I'm gonna run out of time. I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to get to news. One last question: who's going to be your candidate for mayor? Do you have one yet? Who's it going to be?
So we've been vetting multiple candidates that have come forth. So in the next couple of weeks or so, we'll be announcing that in our full platform.
Look forward to talking again. Joel, thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Joel DeBellefeuille, the party, new municipal party is called Futur Montreal or Montreal. We shall see.